Just when you think we're out, they pull us back in. More Rutgers football recruiting news. But for 2026, let's get to it. Okay, so Greg Schiano and Kirk Sharuk are still hard at work recruiting, but for the 2026 class. And that's when you know your recruiting is on experiencing some pretty good momentum. You know, we're offering guys, freshmen. Next thing you know, we'll be in grade school. We're getting it to Michigan, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Today we land a 2026 quarterback commit, 3-star quarterback out of LaSalle, Wyndmoor, Pennsylvania. Same school as Sam Brown. Sam, we hope we have a huge comeback year this year. Gavin Sidwar. I hope this Gavin works out better than Gavin Griffiths and Gavin Winsett. Nonetheless, we're not going to hold that against them. He's 6'3" to 6'4", depending on whose numbers you listen to. 175 to 185, depending on whose numbers you listen to. He's just going to be a junior. He originally was going to announce after his junior year, but he found where he wanted to land, and he loves Rutgers, loves the coaching staff. So he decided to commit. He is a 3-star. At his size, 6'3", 6'4", 175, 185. By the time he graduates, if he's 6'5", 200, 210, that's going to be a spectacularly sized college quarterback, and I'll get to who he reminds me of along those lines in a minute. Number 16 recruit in Pennsylvania. Once again, Pennsylvania guys showing up. Love that. Pennsylvania, really important sport for us in football and in wrestling. So I like that we're Pennsylvania guys are starting to kind of flow our way. Nationally, number 41 quarterback. I think he has room to grow from his skill set and his size. We'll get to that in a minute. Nationally, number 486, he is just a sophomore. He was he threw for 2,439 yards as a sophomore, 29 touchdowns, 65% accuracy, which for a sophomore quarterback is pretty impressive. And I'll get to what I think about, the limited film that I saw on him and what he reminds me of. His offers so far as a sophomore: Duke, Syracuse, Pitt, West Virginia, UVA, Indiana. Visited Syracuse. For all of you wringing your hands over Syracuse, yet another recruiting win for us. Yes, things can change. I'm sure Fran Brown is experiencing a little bit of frustration about losing recruits to Rutgers. Don't know if that would have changed his decision to move on. Nonetheless, I like this. Watched a little bit of film. Get ready. This is who he reminds me of. Justin Herbert. Long, fluid motion, long stride into the ball. He moves well in the pocket, has good pocket presence, has good vision downfield, sees the field very well. Really good accuracy and touch. Fits the ball. It's strange with Gavin. He fits the ball into tight windows. He's good at hitting that quick outs, which we haven't seen in a few years. And even though he fits the ball into tight windows, can throw it deep, throw it downfield, throw it across the middle, hit those quick outs, there's not a lot of velocity on the ball, which is kind of strange for somebody who has a pretty good arm and accuracy. I'm going to guess that by the time he's a senior and he's 6'5", 6'6", 200, 210 pounds, that there's going to be more velocity in the tightest spiral on the ball. I'm going to tell you, his delivery is similar to A.J. Suresh. A.J. Suresh's delivery, a little more compact. Both kind of have good pocket presence, can move in the pocket. A.J. Suresh is probably has a little more foot speed once he gets out into open space and downfield. But I like this commitment. I like what I see, and I think it's going to be really fun to watch A.J. Suresh and to watch Gavin in a couple years, because I think Gavin's probably a little bigger, a little taller, a little more lanky version than A.J. Suresh. It's going to be fun to watch to see how those guys compete and develop. Nonetheless, 2026, we have a quarterback. I'm happy about this. Just when you thought the summer kind of simmered down, we headed into July, we got another commit. And this highlights what I talked about earlier today about Greg Schiano and staff, Kirk Shiraka, just doing a really good job at recruiting. Talked about earlier how Greg Schiano, quoted some quotes by Schiano saying how they have to go about their business being Rutgers and not being a blue bud. Talked about earlier culture, how Greg Schiano focuses on culture. For Rutgers, it's not just a buzzword, it's how about you have to go building your program in the face of blue blood programs being able to pay the bag. Here's what Gavin's quotes were on his commitment to Rutgers. I'm just going to come in and work hard. That's who we are as Rutgers. Culturally, that's how we are as New Jersey. Yes, very high income state. Yes, very highly educated state. We're putting in work. And I think our flagship and state university, looking for those traits in their student athletes is a good thing. Rutgers has a great culture, and all those players work really hard. I want to be a great teammate and try to win a big championship there. They have the staff to do it. I believe they can maximize my potential as a player and a person. And ironically, what mentioned that in my earlier video today, was just looking for something to talk about, and culture and Coach Schiano's ability to relate to players and build the kind of culture and attitude that he wants to see in his recruits. It was kind of ironic, and I'm kind of happy that I was able to find something that we can talk about that's part of who we are now, that's part of our path forward. Sidwar, by the way, a 2-year starter. And further quotes on his relationship with Coach Schiano, Rutgers, and the staff. And I had also talked about earlier today how it's not just about the bag. Hey, look, if you're a high 4-star, 5-star recruit, and you got those guys from the SEC, offering you the bag, and they kind of have that slick kind of presentation. This is what we can do for you, and the NFL kind of thing. That's not who we are. And the kind of guys that we're recruiting are the kind of guys that are looking for leadership, guys that will do the right thing, tell them what they have to do, be straightforward with them. You'd be surprised. A lot of these young guys want you to be straightforward with them. They don't want to have smoke blown up there, where. More quotes from Gavin about the Rutgers coaching staff. Coach Schiano is a great guy. I connect well with him. He's a football guy. He's out there at practice coaching guys, patting him on the back. He develops guys. I think it's a great place for me to be under his umbrella. Now, if you remember Coach Schiano 1, he was a little more buttoned down, a little more tight. Even though we're in the Big Ten now, in many ways, that was a really tough job. You had to basically take a school with an identity problem, identity crisis, that's been a public liberal arts university that was randomly designated state university. We went from playing Bucknell, Lehigh, and Lafayette to playing Miami, Virginia Tech, and West Virginia, but yet we hadn't caught up academically to play against those kind of schools. And he was a detail-oriented guy, kind of rigid, set in his ways. He absolutely seems like he has grown, and he has become a better coach and better at establishing relationships. Nonetheless, Gavin went on to say about Kirk Ciarrocca. Kirk Ciarrocca didn't sell me on fluff. You'd be surprised how many football players, even at 16, 17, 18 years old, don't want you gaslighting them. They want to know what you know. They want to know what you can do, what you have done, and how they fit into your plan. So that's great to see. That's a sign of a mature student athlete. Love to see that. Love to hear that. Gavin goes on to say that Kirk Ciarrocca told him what he wants from his quarterbacks, what he wants them to do, and he believes that he's a great fit. And when you think about it, think about AJ Sarace, and you think about Gavin, and you think about Kaliakmanis. They both have mobility. All three have mobility. Downfield, throw it across the middle. Kaliakmanis has occasionally has a brain fart and misses guys underneath or out in the flat. But these guys are all kind of mobile and can pass. Unlike Gavin Wimsatt, have a little more touch, a little more accuracy, a little better ball placement. So when Gavin Sidwar says he feels that Coach Ciarrocca picked up stuff that nobody else had said to him, and that's important. Look, we're seeing this. We're not smoke blowing here. We're not gaslighting. This is what I'm seeing in your delivery, and this is how I see your game, and this is how you should see your game. And those comments, that attitude, makes Gavin Sidwar believe that he can work well together with Kirk Ciarrocca. That's unbelievably mature for a guy his age. I don't know that I would have been that mature at that age. Nonetheless, one of the other things I talked about when guys getting the bag versus not getting the bag and how we fit in. If you're a recruit, mid to high recruit, it's not just about getting the bag and what that university is going to mean for you monetarily and marketing-wise in the NFL. It has to feel right. How many job interviews have you gone on in the past? Maybe they paid a little more. Maybe it was a company you thought you wanted to be with, but there was something about it that didn't feel right. You were more comfortable with something that wasn't as sexy. And that's what I feel Coach Schiano, Kirk Ciarrocca, and staff are doing very well at, finding their guys, finding culture guys, finding New Jersey guys who want to work hard, who want the truth, want you to give it to them straight, and they're going to work hard to get to where they want to get. I also like that Gavin Sidwar is on board with our future Rutgers. Kirk Ciarrocca wants to be more balanced. When he was at Minnesota, he did a really good job. Balanced offenses, 4,500, almost 5,000 yards a game, running and throwing. Gavin Sidwar loves that. He understands that they want to be able to throw more while also running the ball, have a balanced attack. So that's going to be a great fit. He understands it philosophically. He wants to be part of that, wants to be part of the program. Once again, congratulations to Coach Schiano, Kirk Ciarrocca, and Rutgers football for landing a really good recruit that I think is going to have some pretty high upside. And don't be shocked if Gavin turns into a 4-star recruit. Not saying it's going to happen next week just because Rutgers offered, although that seems to have kind of offered kind of happened with Chase Linton recently being bumped up from a 3-star to 4-star despite the lack of Power 5 offers. Don't be surprised if Gavin Sidwar turns into a 4-star recruit. It could even be next year. Hopefully he stays healthy, plays well, we stay in touch and keep him in the fold and keep committed. I can't wait to see him compete against AJ Suresh. Everybody, enjoy 4th of July week. Enjoy the 4th of July. Be happy, be safe, enjoy some good food and spirits, hit the beach, and we will see you the next time.